Hey guys, it's Joy's Point of View. I'm Christian and I watched Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 is directed by Kelsey Mann, not Pete Doctor. Pete Doctor, the one who directed the first movie, also wrote the first movie. And I think Kelsey Mann actually did a good job. He actually did justice to the first movie and alongside his crew because I really enjoyed this movie. The movie is a Disney and a Pixar movie. It's available on Disney Plus, and it made a bajillion dollars in on box office. So I'm gonna talk about the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like, and I'm gonna provide a brief summary. So a brief summary about Inside Out 2, basically it's about growing up. The first movie was about accepting sadness and accepting pain in your life. You cannot always stay positive all the time. This movie, however, is about accepting growing up and the new challenges that coming up with growing up and new emotions that you feel when you grow older as life gets more complicated. As life gets more complicated, you also become more complex, just like we see Riley becoming more of a complex character in this movie because she's growing up, she's entering puberty, she's gaining new emotion, things, she's experiencing new things in her life, she's experiencing growth in her life, so she's becoming more and more of a messy person, messy, complex person. We see this through the introduction of new emotions such as envy, embarrassment, even my favorite out of the main antagonist herself, anxiety. I didn't expect to like this antagonist, but I saw myself loving this antagonist. I love that they're not evil. It's not an evil antagonist. Okay, so in this movie, anxiety tries to take over headquarters because she feels like Joy no longer understands Riley. She wants to keep Riley the happy kid she always is. Doesn't expect Riley to grow, so she locks the other emotions away from headquarters, like away from headquarters, ships them away far off so that she can be in control, thinking that she knows best about Riley because she's only focusing on what Riley is becoming, not focusing on the now, which is the problem with her. Now, let me skip to the likes. The likes that I liked about this movie, I liked how Joy grew from the first movie because from the first movie, Joy was kind of selfish. She only did what she wanted out of Riley. I mean, she still has a selfish tendencies here, but it's not as annoying as the first movie. Like not even helping sadness, not letting sadness be involved in Riley's life, like in the first movie. But here we actually see how she grew. Like she's having more interaction with sadness. She even trusted sadness to go back in the council to lure them back into the headquarters. So I love seeing that growth, but she also is flawed here, which I love because she's not a Mary Sue. That's why I love Joy. Her flaws is that she wants things to stay the same. She's kind of afraid of change, and anxiety. The introduction of anxiety kind of challenges that view of hers, that worldview that she has towards Riley. And up until she starts to accept, as they're searching for Riley's self, up until she starts to accept that when you grow old, there are things that are bound to change, and there are things that you can't control in life, including Riley as the person she's becoming. You just have to let her grow. You just have to let Riley decide who Riley wants to be. Another thing that I loved about this movie, a lot of people complained that this movie, okay, not a lot of people, but there have been complaints that this movie has the same story beats as the first movie. I see why, but I kind of disagree because Joy and the other emotions are all grouped together, and we actually see their dynamic exchange as they're trying to go back to headquarters, going through the mind, trying to get to the back of the mind to retrieve the true self of Riley. I actually love that it's actually discussed who kind of grounds Joy in this movie, when in the first movie it was sadness. But in this movie, it's not just discussed only. Even anger had his moments of grounding Joy, like when she was giving up on herself because it felt like it's hopeless. Even she admitted for the first time We saw Joy admitting that she doesn't know what she's doing. So I love that. I love that they were actually more helpful in this movie. Another thing that I loved about this movie, it's I love how they expanded on the world building when they showcase the belief system. That was really cool. I cannot believe how fast I got into this movie. I also got fast into the first movie, but I really got fast into this movie. The belief system, I think that was, and the animation on that was breathtaking. And I love that we also got this introduction that when when Riley has like enough beliefs, it ends up forming a self, a sense of self. And I love that by the end of the movie, she ends up becoming this complex character. She's not this one dimensional good person. She's messy, she can be jealous, but she also tries to make up for her mistakes. She can have anxiety attacks when things don't go her way. Sorry, something's in my throat. When things don't go her way, she also has anxiety attacks. Um, so yeah, those were the things that I loved. What's another thing that I loved in this movie? Yeah, I really love this movie a lot. Now, I don't really have any dislikes in this movie, but I do have some minor issues with this movie, and that is it didn't really make me cry like the first movie. I wanted to have that emotional impact as the first movie. Is this movie like bad? Does this make this movie bad? No, it's good. It's a really good. It's a really good movie. Highly recommend it. But I wish it emotionally manipulated me like the first movie. I know a lot of people. I know some people cried in this movie. I didn't. I didn't. The first movie made me cry. The first movie had an emotional impact, but this one, not so much, to me at least. But that being said, it was a really good movie. I had a great time. Another thing I forgot to talk about the likes, the things that I liked. I liked Riley in this movie. In the first movie, she was more of a plot device than a character. She was kind of a robotic in a way, where she was this plot device that drove the story, not really a character. But here she's kind of becoming a character where we're actually focusing on Riley as a person, where we actually see Riley interact with other people and we see her growing. Heck, we even see moments where she's not a robot, such as when Anxiety was trying to push Riley, but she says that Riley is not moving. And she even asked, are we pushing her too hard? When she was asking Envy that, are we pushing her too hard? Even back in the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes when Anxiety was introduced, when she was trying to make Riley switch sides with Val, but she didn't because her sense of self was still there. Her childhood sense of self, that I'm a good person self, was still there, so she could move. So I'm glad that Riley is still a person. She's a person and not just a plot device. She's a character. She's an actual character, and not like a plot device, a robotic plot device like she was in the first movie. Other than that, this movie was fun. This movie was great. And I'm glad that it made a lot of money, and I'm glad that it's shutting the mouths of the people that are saying Disney is dying, Disney is dying, Disney is dying, as if Disney didn't make any misses in the past, as if Disney has been releasing banger after banger, whereas Disney also had its misses in the past. Heck, in the 80s, they almost went to an economic recession. So I hate it every time when people say when a certain company doesn't release good movies, often they say it's dead. It's not. Every company goes through this. Every company has its successes, then downfalls, then successes, then downfalls. It's not a 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 movie every time. That's not how it works. So yeah, I'm glad this movie shattered those people up that say Pixar is dead. Oh, Pixar is dead. I'm glad it shattered their mouths because they were really annoying. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Inside Out 2. I enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. Go check it out. It's way better than Turning Red. And I do love the way they tackled puberty here. I love how realistic they did puberty, such as the headaches you feel, the new emotions that you develop, the anxiety that you develop, and the possibility that you might face less joy when you grow. And I love that in this movie, Riley is the one that's in control of her emotions, such as when she was summoning joy towards the end of the movie, showcasing that she's not a robot in this movie, she's an actual character. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Inside Out 2. I loved it, highly recommend it. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Okay, bye.